Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Lots going on. An update on toxic masculinity. Yeah, you won't want to miss that. No, that's for sure. And we've already talked a little bit about the Oscars. Well, I didn't watch it, but we've talked about what leading into the Oscars was a sign. I want to give you a lot more signs. I also want to talk to you about some of the craziness that's going on right now in the news, and we'll talk about judge appointments. SCOTUS is hearing the Janus case. That's the union stuff. That was a big discussion when I was in Oregon. I was speaking at the Dorchester event. One of the sponsors was my radio station up in Oregon, KYKN, and was glad to see Gator and Denise there and get to do a little spot on their show. So lots going on that case because it could really crush the unions and probably will. I mean, if the Supreme Court rules correctly on Janus, and I'm no Supreme Court judge, but I think I'm pretty bright, and to force somebody to pay union dues when they don't want to be part of a union, I think is ridiculous. It's like forcing us to pay for Obamacare. That's ridiculous too, and it's unconstitutional. So if I'm not part of your union, just because you form one at a company, if I vote not to be in it, I shouldn't have to pay a nickel to you. Oh, but Kevin, you benefit. Well, so what? I benefit from the job. I benefit because the company gave me a job, and they give me a desk, and they give me a phone, and they expect me to do my job. And if the company says, you know what, Kevin, we're going to pave the parking lot. Well, congratulations to me. My car won't be muddy or dirty if I go out there dusty. But that doesn't mean I got to pay for it. My job is just my payment, so to speak. Anything that comes from it is a benefit. If the company decides we're going to put in, health care for everybody, it's available to everybody, and some people participate in it and other people don't because they don't have kids, it's still there for me. I don't get charged for it. I mean, this is a common sense argument. I can't wait to see the outcome of this. Hey, we had Angela Merkel of Germany. She finally admitted that there were no-go zones in her country. Finally, she didn't want to admit it. She's been bringing in all these Muslims who were out there committing, rape culture, and bringing this rape culture and committing all kinds of sexual assaults on German women. And she finally says, well, we cannot have any no-go zones. We got that clip? Let's just play that clip.
Chancellor Angela has acknowledged the problem of so-called no-go zones in the country for the first time during her tenure in office. RT's Peter Oliver picks up the story.
We've seen an unexpected change of tack from Angela Merkel when it comes to talk of no-go areas in Germany.
There should not be any no-go zones. There can be no places where nobody dares to go. But these zones exist, and they should be named, and something must be done about it.
Merkel hadn't previously used the incendiary phrase no-go area to describe parts of the country with a high crime rate, but that rate has been going up. The government's own figures released earlier this year point to a 10% rise in violent crime between 2015 and 2016, 90% of which is attributed to young male refugees. There was criticism last year of the way the German media covered the refugee crisis. A highly respected group of researchers said that editors acted as public educators and that the whole refugee crisis and the arrival of hundreds of thousands of people was covered in too favourable a light.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com, author of Race Pimping, the multi-trillion-dollar business of liberalism. Get my book at racepimping.com. What are we talking about here in Germany? Angela Merkel admitting no-go zones exist. Germany admitting. We've been covering this whole refugee thing with kid gloves, pretending that, that these are good folks coming over for whatever reason. And it's wrecking our economy. It's wrecking our way of life. It's wrecking Germany. Finally admitting it. Let me tell you what's going on, people. For those of you who don't understand what's happening, Donald Trump is exporting American values. American values that say, admit what it is. Admit what something is. Don't ignore a problem. Say what the problem is. I'm going to tell you something else Donald Trump is beating the Democrats on I'm talking about not just in the United States, worldwide. Democrats, leftists, progressives, call them whatever you want. This socialist ideology is being defeated across the world without firing a shot. Donald Trump, all he's doing is saying, I'm going to show you what works. You don't have to believe me, but if you want to keep doing what you're doing, it's going to backfire. So Angela Merkel, one of the biggest proponent of refugees, bringing them in droves, ignoring the problems of them, finally has to admit, we got a problem. Let me tell you something. Trudeau in Canada, he's considered a joke. This is a guy who, people were looking at this guy as like, he's amazing. He's Trudeau. He's ridiculed. When's the last time you heard anything about Emmanuel Macron of France? Another pretty boy who was supposed to be the poster child of all things left. And you know what he's doing? He's having to come to the realization that he's wrong. We are exporting excellence again. At least the idea of it. We're exporting the idea that you are not racist, you are not xenophobic, you are not Islamophobic by questioning what's going on with the culture, what comes in with the culture of Muslims and their wretched religion known as Islam, and what it's doing to your country and how it's impacting you. Finally, people are willing to stand up and question. It's happening all over the world. Our news doesn't want to report to you that all around the country there are places where they're banning. There are places in Italy, towns where they're banning Islam. They're saying you can't practice it here. There are places where they're saying you can't bring Muslims into our culture, period. We will not accept them. They're not going to tell you that. But it's happening all over. Google it. Folks, don't look, I can only give you so much news. You can only get so much. You can only absorb it. We try to figure out what we want to tell you in these times. It's too much. Google this information for yourselves. You'll find out all over the world. They're rejecting progressivism. They're rejecting socialism. They want to be like the United States. Trust me when I tell you, they look at the United States and go, I want to be like that. I wish I could get there. Why do you think they want to do it? Because we mimic everybody else? If they wanted that, they'd go to Europe. You know what people want to do in Europe? They want to visit. That's it.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.